things are heating up on Cardano. Looking at the average age of my viewers, according to YouTube Analytics, most of you all are in an age range where you will remember Celebrity Deathmatch. Well, there's about to be a crypto deathmatch. The contestants are Casrdstarter and SundaeSwap. Casrdstarter has filed a lawsuit against SundaeSwap. This is the filing right here. This may be the first time that I know of, maybe I could find another occasion, where a cryptocurrency has officially sued another cryptocurrency. You know, not the SEC or not some regulating body suing a crypto project. And maybe it's not, but this is certainly not something that happens every day on the blockchain anyway. Mayor Brown filed a breach of contract lawsuit against SundaeSwap Labs and its top officers this past Friday in California Northern District Court. Mayor Brown is the legal representation for Casrdstarter, just to make that clear, and right here is the case number, just so you have it. As usual, there is all kinds of information going on out there in social media about what's going on with the projects. People's feelings are hurt. But what I want to do today is bring some clarity. So what I'm going to do in today's video, I'm going to go through the timeline of events of how we got to this point. I'm then going to give you my opinion on who's at fault. And also I'm going to give you my opinion on what happens to both of these projects moving forward and how this affects those projects. My main purpose here with this channel is to make sure that you get the information. Now, some of this on the timeline of events is a little detailed, so I am going to put chapters in the description. That way, if you must skip ahead, you are welcome to. Now, of course, I would love for you to watch the whole video. It really does help the algorithm, but more importantly, I want you to get the information that you're looking for. So I'll break it down into the timeline of what happened. I'll break it down to my thoughts of who's at fault, and then I'll break it down into the conclusion. So if you need to skip ahead, do so. If you do enjoy the content today, obliterate the like button for me. It helps the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to, come check me out on Twitter. It's very simple, @PerryUnlikely. It's as easy as it gets. If you want to see more of my content, subscribe and hit the bell for notification. Now, let's get into how this whole debacle came to be. I do think it's important that you understand I do not own either of these projects. While I do likely have the most SundaeSwap videos out there on YouTube and plan to get into it, with the launch being challenged, I actually did not get into it. So currently I'm waiting to see what happens with the price action, but I want to make that clear. In April of 2021, Casrdstarter announced the launch of CardSwap. Now, this was marketed to be similar to Ethereum's Uniswap, but this would be for the Cardano blockchain. Then in June, Casrdstarter entered an agreement with SundaeSwap where they would essentially team up. Casrdstarter would cease the development of the competing CardSwap DEX and would provide liquidity to SundaeSwap. And this would actually be announced on July the 2nd in a press release. During an AMA in July, Ashwin, Casrdstarter's senior operations advisor, was asked if this is a replacement of CSwap. He stated, "This is a merger, and SundaeSwap is the name of the main DEX where a lot of this will be taking place." Ashwin also said during the AMA that the CSwap community would be very well taken care of by all of us and that they're getting an amazing end of the deal. Keep that in mind. What exactly is the benefit of this deal? Well, we'll take a look at the July 2nd press release and we'll just get it straight from the horse's mouth what they said the benefits were. The agreement will accelerate the Casrdstarter community's access to a smart contract-enabled Cardano DEX through SundaeSwap. The collaboration will let each company focus on its core expertise. The SundaeSwap DEX will benefit from the influx of liquidity from the Casrdstarter community, while Casrdstarter innovators will enjoy the benefits of a large pool of potential investors. And both communities will benefit from the added stability that comes with greater liquidity. Up to this point, everyone seems to be happy. Now let's jump to October where it starts to get messy. On January 23rd, a tweet was sent out with some screenshots from an earlier conversation between the teams that took place on October the 31st. In this screenshot, it looks like the Chief Information Officer for SundaeSwap tells Cardstarter CEO Amir that they will receive 7.5% of the supply, which indeed is 150 million tokens. That's based off the 2 billion total supply. In the other portion of the screenshot, it appears as if SundaeSwap changed their mind and they wanted to reduce it from 150 million down to 10 million. Now, we already know that's going to be a problem. Anyone with half a bit of common sense can see where it's gonna probably take a turn for the worse. I got a lot of this information from an article, so I'm gonna put that in the description as well. I think they did a good job putting it together, so that's really where I got a lot of the information in terms of the timeline of events. And then I checked it off of various pieces of information elsewhere, like the tweets, the filing, and different things like that. So make sure to check that article out if you want to read into it. Now, it looks like back in October, Cardstarter had a TVL, total value locked, of $18.5 million. And as of January the 20th, that TVL was sitting around 17.5 million. Now, what's interesting about this is if we travel back in time to the press release, well, we know at some point the TVL was around 57 million because that's actually in the press release. So that is something to keep in mind right there. And remember, when we're talking about total value locked and the liquidity that Cardstarter is going to provide, that would be the liquidity that they're providing. So there was some expectation, it appears, for Cardstarter to provide liquidity. And I've got a feeling that neither team thought that it was going to be around 17 million. Now, I did see where SundaeSwap did state at some point that two of the members of their team misspoke. Whether you want to say they misspoke or not, if they really did provide that information as a representative of the team, well, it seems we have a problem. Even if you never invested in Cardstarter, never had anything to do with it, and are a big fan of SundaeSwap, it's important that you remember these investors in Cardstarter took their money, kept it there, believing they were going to get something in return and be taken care of. And many of them probably were thinking, I'm even more excited because of SundaeSwap, because what you can't forget is no one anticipated SundaeSwap would grow how much it did before the launch. I did several videos on it and I pointed out how basically in a matter of months, they went up to over 200,000 Twitter followers. Even on other social media metrics, whether you want to say it's Telegram, whatever the case, it flat out blew up beyond anyone's expectations. Now, that's just my opinion, but those are numbers that you just don't see on a regular basis. Certainly for a project before it even launches. Now, here's what I believe happened. We have these projects in their early phases. We've got Cardstarter, who is off to a great start. We've got SundaeSwap coming on. Cardstarter realizes SundaeSwap is going to do big things. SundaeSwap would like to have the liquidity. So at the beginning, it seems like it would be great to pair up. I do believe that there was some sort of agreement. What concerns me is, instead of getting out a mechanical pencil and a dirty napkin to do a contract, they should have gotten legal counsel involved at the start. As I said earlier, Mayor Brown, well, someone should have called Mayor Brown before all of this started. And that is a disappointment. And that should go to show you, although there's a lot of excitement in the crypto field, generally in the corporate world, things just aren't done this way. And it could have been done better. And who's to blame for that? Both parties are at fault for that, in my opinion. Beyond the garbage contract that was done on social media, or on Telegram anyway, and I say it's a contract only because there was some negotiating going on. And there was some statements on how the compensation would work. But even if you don't think it's a contract, that's fine. It was a verbal contract. Verbally, they did state how many they were going to get. And whether that was a mistake, the court will determine that. Neither of these teams knew that the bottom was going to fall out of Bitcoin and the rest of the cryptocurrency market. Thus, the TVL would bottom out as well. Now, when I say bottom out, 17 million is not the bottom, but it's not 57 million either, and it's not the 200 million that they allegedly expected to receive. So I believe SundaeSwap said, you know what? We're not going to do 150 million. We're going to give you 10 million and you can take it or leave it. And I think that's why we've arrived where we have. Let me be very clear. I am a fan of SundaeSwap, but I am a bigger fan of integrity. Now, me personally, I believe you have to keep your word. And you may later find out that there's some issues with the amount of TVL you're going to get, because do I think they should get 150 million tokens with 17 million in locked value? No, I do not. I don't think that quite meets the terms either. I would hope the teams could at least come together and, if nothing else, do some simple math and say, hey, you were at 57 million in TVL, but now you're at 17.5. Let's do the math and you're going to get 25% or whatever that number is. But come to some terms, and I don't expect them to go back and forth about it on Twitter. And Charles Hoskinson didn't expect that either, because he stated his displeasure with how the whole thing had been handled, just not really in a professional manner. So my thought is, from what I can tell, because I haven't seen an actual contract, both teams were not being very professional and made an incredibly stupid mistake. And I do think SundaeSwap went back on their word. If there truly was some terms to meet as far as liquidity, I don't think Casrdstarter met that either. And I think that they both should have negotiated, or at least tried. Not one team come in and say, look, we're giving you this much, we think it's fair, take it or leave it. I think there should have been a conversation around that. Now, where do we go from here? Well, first of all, to those people who were loyal to Casrdstarter, I do think in a court, they are somewhat going to be taken care of somehow. Now, why do I believe that? Well, let's look at how the SEC and look at how these other regulating bodies handle things like this. They really do try to take care of the consumer. Well, those individuals are the consumers, in my opinion. And what you also need to realize is, let's think about who was hurt the most. SundaeSwap is going to go on to be an incredible DEX, I'm pretty sure. That's just my opinion. And their TVL last time I checked was 71 million. See, I don't think they anticipated that happening so quick. Casrdstarter ceased development on their DEX that could have potentially went on to do the same thing. So now ceasing that development really hurt that project bad. Someone's got to somehow make up for that, and I doubt that 10 million tokens is going to be enough to justify that. So I do think there is going to be some attempt by the court to make sure that those individuals that invested are taken care of some way or another. Do I think it's going to be by way of 150 million tokens? No, I do not. I don't think that's going to happen. And also, let me point this out. While it's 150 million that was supposedly agreed upon, they're asking for 250 million for damages. You will see that in the court filing. Now, the other question about that is where are those going to come from? I do believe once this goes through court, Sunday's going to have to somehow rectify this. I don't think the 10 million is going to be acceptable. I have no clue. I just don't think it's going to be. And I hope at the end of this, everyone looks out at least for those investors. And you got to think about it. Casrdstarter, this did hurt them pretty bad. I'm going to put everything in the description. I'm going to put the whole court filing, which I believe is 38 pages. I'll put a link to that. I'll also put a link to the article. Definitely check it out. They did a great job of putting it together. And make sure if you like the content, come back and check it out again. Hit the like button. As a matter of fact, drill the like button. I really appreciate each and every single viewer. Hit subscribe. Help me get to 6,000 subscribers. We're getting really close. And also hit the bell for notification if you want to stay up to date on the latest content that I drop. And I will see you next time.